A psychological deep dive into Marilyn Monroe. Part 1. The Orphan. To understand Marilyn, you must first understand the void. Long before the spotlights, there was Normajeane, a girl shifted between 12 different foster homes. Psychologically, this created a fragmented self. When a child is never mirrored by a stable mother, she learns to mirror the world instead. She became a chameleon. Normajeane didn't just want to be an actress, she had to be. For her, being seen was the only proof of being alive. She once said, "I knew I belonged to the public and to the world, not because I was talented or even beautiful, but because I had never belonged to anything or anyone else." This is the orphan archetype, the desperate need to find a home in the eyes of a stranger. The scholar in disguise, the spelling paradox. And there is this one detail that most people miss. Marilyn was a woman of voracious, restless intelligence. While Hollywood saw her as a dumb blonde, she was reading Dostoevsky, Whitman, and James Joyce's Ulysses. She was constantly taking notes on hotel stationery, on the back of scripts in leather-bound journals. These notes reveal a fascinating psychological landscape. They are deeply poetic and analytical, yet they are riddled with phonetic spelling errors and grammar slips. It is a spelling paradox. It shows a mind that was moving faster than her education could keep up with. It reveals a woman who was self-taught and intellectually hungry, but whose childhood instability had left gaps in her formal training. Those spelling mistakes weren't a lack of intelligence, they were the scars of an interrupted childhood. It's the sound of a genius trying to speak through the cracks of a broken past. The tragedy of the empty cradle. There was one role Marilyn wanted more than any other, a role the world never allowed her to keep, the role of a mother. She suffered from severe endometriosis, a condition that made her pregnancies a journey through hell. She endured multiple miscarriages and an ectopic pregnancy that nearly killed her. Psychologically, for someone who never had a stable family, the desire for a child wasn't just a biological urge, it was a quest for redemption. She wanted to be for her child what no one had been for her. Every lost pregnancy was a devastating blow to her fragile sense of self. She was the most desired woman on earth, yet she felt betrayed by her own body. Unable to bring forth the one thing she believed would finally make her real. The invention of the goddess. To survive this pain, she perfected the mask. She referred to Marilyn in the third person, treating the icon as a separate entity, a suit of armor made of silk. But there is a danger in building a fortress that everyone wants to invade. The Marilyn mask became so successful that it began to swallow Normajeane. She was trapped in a paradox. The more the world loved the goddess, the more the girl inside felt invisible. She was the most looked at woman in the world, yet she felt completely unseen. She was a poet living in a body that was treated like public property. The chemical retreat. The tragedy wasn't just the barbiturates, it was the insomnia of the soul. When you spend your day being on for millions, the silence of the night becomes unbearable. The drugs were not an escape from reality, but an escape from the exhaustion of the performance. She suffered from what we might today call complex PTSD, a chronic feeling of emptiness and an intense fear of abandonment. The outcast within her was never silenced by the fame. it was only amplified by it. The more she gave to the camera, the less she had for herself. The resume. Marilyn Monroe remains the patron saint of all outcasts because she showed us that you can have the world's worship and still be starving for a simple, honest hello. She outlasted her era not as a pin-up, but as a warning that we must never love the image more than the person behind it. She was the light that blinded us to her own darkness. The lesson of the unseen depth. Marilyn reminds us that the world will always try to simplify you. They will focus on your spelling errors instead of your poetry. They will focus on your failures instead of your strength. The Outlast factor is to keep your inner library growing, even if the world only ever looks at the cover of your book. Your depth is your own, even if they never choose to see it. This is Outcast Outlast in Hollywood.